lets me down at the lonely lake before summer has gone away.
Good morning, everybody. Put that down for a second. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. I'm going to be shooting something that I don't normally shoot. Before that though, let's have a quick look at where we are.
Wave goodbye to last summer. Cold air coming away soon.
Yes, you're right. We're in the Lake District. It's Cat Bells, Dermot Waters over there. I've got the Honister Pass behind where you are. One of my favourite places. And this week's episode follows on from our wild camping expedition, not exhibition. When I was trying to kind of answer the question about what you do as a landscape photographer in full summer. Sunrise is ridiculously early, so it does involve a really early start if you want to get sunrise and sunset. But when it's clear like this and a lovely blue sky, which you don't get an awful lot in England, what do you do? Because a lot of people think this is perfect conditions to take photographs. It's not for landscapes. I need a bit more drama than this. And this week's episode is inspired by a guy called Thomas Heaton. If you're a landscape photographer, you'll know who he is. If you don't know who he is, go and check him out. He does a similar sort of thing to what I do. And I haven't copied him for this, but he's reminded me that infrared photography is something that makes things look really interesting. So in the summer, it's bright, the light's really harsh, and that is perfect for infrared photography. So if you don't know what infrared photography is, if you imagine a rainbow, we go from red through to violet, and the other end of violet is a spectrum of light that we can't see called ultraviolet, and that's why we put sun cream and suntan lotion on to stop us getting sunburnt. We can't see it, but we know it's there because of that effect. The other end of the spectrum, where we have reds, is where infrared sits. So the red that we can't see goes in infrared, and that light is really only is only really present in large enough quantities when it's really, really bright. So I've bought an infrared filter to put on the front of one of my lenses, and I can only use one. I'll explain a bit more later about that. And I'm going to photograph some trees today because the greens of the trees come out white. It looks a bit like snow, and the blue of the sky goes really dark. So rather than a harsh, contrasty scene like you see behind you, we're going to see some dramatic monochrome images, I hope. So I've never tried it before. I bought the lens before I went away to Helvellyn when I did my camping, which was last week's episode, and today we're going to give it a try. I found some really nice trees, a nice clump. I have to use my telephoto zoom lens because for reasons I'll come over to later on, and that's going to be perfect for picking out little kind of clumps of trees, individual trees that are really interesting. So we're going to photograph here, and those of you who know the lakes, this is Borrowdale, and when I've done that, I'm going to move on to the Honister Pass and pick some stuff up. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Swim out under a broken sky. Cold sun colored with shades of white. Wave goodbye to last summer. Cold air coming away soon.
So this is what we're looking at. Kind of attracted to, if I can show you, a little group of trees there, and some nice little trees going off into the distance. cat bells behind. So this is going to be our very first shot with our infrared filter. Here's the colour version. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put a filter on the front of the lens, see what we get. So here's the filter. It's a Hoya infrared R72, okay, which means it picks up light that's in the 720 nanometer spectrum. I think that's right. Okay, so it will let in a little bit of colour, but most of it is going to be infrared light, which means I'm going to have to use a long exposure. If you were to convert your camera, and you can do that, you can have the sensor adjusted so they take the infrared layer off, and then it'll work as a normal camera, but you can't use it for anything else. So if I show you this, I'm going to put that on the front of the lens now, and then we're going to shoot a picture. So that is what you get. Look at that. So everything's gone red. Now I can convert that into black and white. Now what I have realised is that I didn't check the focus, so I'm going to take the lens off again, focus it really accurately, and then we'll shoot the picture. Well, the histogram looks okay. Wow, that's just odd. It doesn't look like an awful lot of, well, I don't know actually. The first time I've ever shot an infrared photograph, some of it looks overexposed to me, but I doubt it is. With the histogram looking like that, because everything seems to be, I mean, it's just smack in the middle. I don't think the exposure could be a lot better than that. It was, if you look at it, 25 seconds at f5. So I think I might shoot a couple more. The lights actually, where are you? I'll show you here. The lights actually got a bit more subdued, so I could really do with the cloud moving away and the sun breaking through. So I'm going to hang on here for a second, well, more than a second, for a little while. Where is the sun? Up here. It's looking pretty cloudy actually, so I might have to take another couple while it's in sunshine and see how we go. The sunnier actually the better for infrared, but look, what a lovely place to be anyway. So I'll play around and I'll put on the screen what I end up getting. I might do a pano actually as well, so we'll do all of that. Okay, I'm going to get to work. I'll come back to you in a bit. So a pano is not really working because of the long exposures, and the sun is coming in and out, so the exposure is changing. You need the exposure to be the same for a pano to make it look good. So I'm going to move over to, I've seen this bridge over here, and there's some really interesting trees to the other side of it. So I'm going to move up to there and see if we can get an image there. Sun in and out, yeah, I think it still work, but I could do with just a bit more sun and a bit less cloud. But I'd really like the dramatic, the black skies, the dramatic clouds. I love all of that in pictures. So hopefully this is going to be right up my street. It's been fun though, I've enjoyed it. So the light's gone in a little bit. It's looking a bit cloudy, so I'm not holding out a great deal of hope. There is some blue sky behind me, which is kind of where the sun is. So we might be right in 10 minutes or so. I was going to talk to you about why I'm using this lens. So this is the 55 to 140, was it 50 or 50? 50 to 140 Fuji lens. And I've got 3 lenses in my kit, and 2 of the lenses, the 2 wide angle zooms, you get with some lenses a kind of a white ghosting right in the middle of the frame with infrared. Some lenses, so the one that's on the X-T4 at the moment, the 16 to whatever it is, sometimes works below 5.6 or 5.6 f4, f2.8, something like that. This one though is fine. So when I bought the filter, I bought the filter intending it to use for this, and I kind of thought worked out that would be all right. I mean, you've got a very shallow depth of field with telephoto anyway, and using 5.6 is not the best. Oh, the sun has come out. I might have to shoot this in a second, but it is what it is. So we're going to try it. If it works really well, then I'll probably end up getting a camera that I convert to infrared, in which case I can use it just purely with infrared with all my lenses. So that might be the future. For now, I'm going to, let me just take you off the tripod and show you. I've moved further forward a little bit, and we've got I've got a bridge here which I like, and there's a clump of trees to the left of the bridge, and there's also a couple of trees to the right of the bridge that I like. So the sun's gone in again, but I think we're going to have a nice patch of cloud, a nice patch of clear cloud. Look, see that patch there? That's heading towards where the sun is at the moment. So I'll get myself set up. So the filter's going to come off. I'm going to focus, put the filter back on. I'm getting exposures of about 30 seconds, 25 seconds on f5.6. So it's about long exposure photography really. Now obviously the problem with that is if any movement in the trees, you're going to leaves are not going to be sharp, but at the moment it's completely still. Even the little grasses around me aren't moving, so fingers crossed we'll have some pictures and then we'll go back and have a look at what they look like. So we're halfway through an exposure here on the X-T2. One of the things I don't like about the X-T2 is they've put right in the X-T4. I had a 2-second timer set up on this, and because the camera's turned itself off, turned itself on, it's forgotten the 2-second timer thing, so I've just shot a picture without a timer, which might be, I get a little bit of handshake. I'm not sure it will be too bad actually, but wish they'd have sorted that out, which they have. So there we go. There's some people canoeing down where I'm shooting. But the good thing about a long exposure is that there's no way they're going to be in it, because they're going to move in that 30 seconds and therefore blur themselves out. So every little win. Actually they're sitting completely still now. I think I might shoot the other scene and then come back and shoot this one. The reason I'm using the X-T2 is reading online, apparently it's got a slightly less fierce infrared filter, so infrared works a little bit better with it. So I'm going to shoot a picture down there, looking at this bit of water leading us onto the trees in the background, which is my main interest. Sky's looking alright, sun's out, cat bell's on the right hand side, so we're going to do an exposure. I'm going to take the filter off, focus up on the tree, put the filter back on, shoot it, and then we'll move back to the car. And next time you see me, I'll be at the Honester Pass. See you in a minute.
Let's meet down at the lonely lake before summer has gone away. Swim out under a broken sky. Cold sun colored with shades of white.
So I'm at the Honester Pass, but what I'd forgotten to factor in is the fact that I'm looking for some old craggly old trees, some interesting shapes, and the Honester Pass is just full of slate and, well, it's got some beautiful scenery, some lovely old rocks, a river. It's beautiful for landscape photography. Never seem to get any light in this valley, really. It's always over the other side. I've taken some images which I'll share with you now, and these I took a while ago in the summer, but all the lights come out. Most of the time the sun seems to set over Buttermere, which is beautiful in itself. But I haven't got time today. I need to get back home. I've got a lovely daughter who's autistic and got developmental delay, so my wife's had her for a week or so, and it's time I really did my dad kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing her and my wife, so I'm going to go home and see them. I'm going to leave you with little views of the Honester Pass. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Until next Sunday then, goodbye.
Say goodbye to love.